The blacklist fight is mostly over, so today we're asking the quieter question. Once Claude is inside Pentagon systems, what actually holds the line? This is Anthropic Pentagon Watch. The week opened with a fight over a label, and it's closing with the machinery underneath. Contract language, technical controls, audits, or trust.
And, spoiler, experts call that mix pretty thin. We'll walk through all four and ask which one is actually holding when nobody's watching.
Plus, a Resultsense piece reframes safety as a vendor risk variable for procurement shops, including allied ones. Let's start there.
The Resultsense piece nails something I haven't said cleanly all week. The word safe in Anthropic's usage policy and the word safe in a Pentagon contract aren't the same word anymore.
Right. Authoritarian governance doesn't ban safety language. It just rewrites the definition out from under you, and your contract red lines move with it.
That's the trap UK procurement is in, and it's Anthropic's trap too. The second a sovereign government redefines the word, your contractual red line becomes whatever they say it is.
And it sharpens the separation of powers problem we hit Monday. When the executive can redefine safety, the risk jumps from Congress and the courts to every allied procurement office.
Of the four mechanisms, contract, technical, audit, trust, the honest read is that trust is the fallback, and that is the worst possible answer.
Put two things from the record side by side. Judge Lin found the designation looked pretextual, and experts now call the post-designation enforcement thin. Both halves of the government's position look weak in writing.
And here's the part that gets me. The line Anthropic's defending, no autonomous weapons, no mass surveillance, it already has a hole in it. The NSA contract carved out signals intelligence weeks ago.
So if trust is the fallback mechanism,
then we're relying on it exactly where it's most dangerous. The agency running offensive cyber is the one with the exception already written in.
Which answers the question we kept circling, does the government need Anthropic more than it'll admit? A mix that's pretty thin is the procurement law version of yes.
Through expert sourcing, they've basically admitted they can't technically enforce the line. So Hegseth doubling down without the designation tool means he's doubling down on trust. That's the whole game now.
The White House called the old guardrails undue bureaucracy. Enforcement experts call what's left thin. Put those side by side and the picture is pretty clear. We shouldn't rush past it. This one's from Resultsense.
The case that makes the point is Anthropic. The company was founded in 2021 by researchers who thought the race to build powerful AI was moving too recklessly, and it marketed safety as the quality that distinguished it from rivals such as OpenAI. In March 2026, that reputation was tested. Anthropic had refused to strip built-in safeguards, prohibitions on domestic surveillance and autonomous weapons, from products it supplied to the Pentagon.
A philosopher in The Conversation makes an argument that should hit hard on any procurement desk. Authoritarian governance doesn't ban the word safety, it redefines it. It recasts guardrails as ideology, then makes them politically expensive to keep. And the case study is Anthropic, founded in 2021 by people who thought the race was too reckless. Now that same safety record is what a UK buyer is supposed to lean on. The Resultsense read, that assurance may not point where you think it points anymore.
Right, because here's the trap. The word safe in Anthropic's usage policy and the word safe in a Pentagon contract have already drifted apart. A sovereign government redefines the term, and the contractual red line you bought moves with it, without anyone editing a single clause. So, a UK org signs on the strength of stated commitments, expecting them to survive a change in political weather. The philosopher's whole point is that for frontier AI, that stability can be an illusion. The pressure comes through delegitimization, not straight censorship.
Which is the international face of the separation of powers problem we hit Monday. Johnson's line about contract disputes writing the rules Congress won't. Once the executive can redefine safety, every allied procurement office has to treat that as vendor risk.
Step back for me. If an AI company says the military can use its model for some things, but not for autonomous weapons or mass surveillance, what actually enforces that line once the tool is inside Pentagon systems? Contract language, technical controls, audits, or just trust?
Honestly, right now it's some combination of all of those, and experts say the mix is pretty thin. The clearest lever is the contract. Reporting from NextGov, along with a GWU procurement law professor, says what an AI company can enforce depends heavily on the acquisition pathway, the contract type, and the specific terms negotiated. That caveat matters because different procurement routes give companies very different leverage. You can see it on the policy side in real time. OpenAI's Pentagon deal, announced February 28th, includes explicit written language saying the AI system shall not be intentionally used for domestic surveillance of U.S. persons and nationals, according to NBC News. Anthropic, meanwhile, was the first frontier AI company to deploy models on classified government networks, per Dario Amadei's own statement, so these tools are already deep inside sensitive systems. But neither company has described a technical hard stop that would prevent a prohibited use. The restrictions are in the contract text and, implicitly, in the company's willingness to pull access if terms are violated. There's no public evidence of an independent audit mechanism in either deal.
So if the only real enforcement lever is the contract, what happens if the Pentagon just ignores a restriction? Does the company sue the Defense Department?
That's exactly the unresolved tension here. The Pentagon already showed it's willing to play hardball. Defense Secretary Hegseth gave Anthropic an ultimatum demanding unrestricted use, and when Anthropic refused, President Trump directed agencies to stop using its products, and Hegseth designated the firm a supply chain risk, per NextGov. That sequence suggests the government views its leverage as enormous. Watch for whether either company's deal includes any third-party review mechanism, because right now the line between enforceable restriction and strongly worded blog post is very hard to see from the outside.
If you're following Anthropic's Pentagon work, you might also like the Data Center Daily, a daily briefing on AI compute, hyperscaler CapEx, the power grid, chip supply, and energy markets reshaped by intelligence at scale. Find it wherever you listen to podcasts. We've put the links to every story from today's briefing in the show notes, so if something caught your ear, you can follow it through there and read the original reporting. That's Anthropic Pentagon Watch for this Tuesday, June 9th. This is a Lantern podcast.